Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Dolphin Financial Radio Show. Today, we're going to be talking about Social Security, but in particular, we're going to talk about the top 3 misunderstood aspects of Social Security. I'm going to tell you my top 3, meaning what I think people totally don't get about Social Security. So it's really important you pay attention. But what sparked this conversation is an article, a survey I read. And the title of it is more than 2/3 of Americans don't know that Social Security is protected against inflation. I found this pretty crazy to see, and I thought, well, let's talk about it. So let me bring in Tony Shore to talk about this. Tony, I want to show. So here's the link to the survey that the viewers can follow. It was commissioned by I want to tell you how this survey was done before we get into the numbers and the crazy things that people don't understand about Social Security, because there's some relevance here. So it was a Harris poll on behalf of Nationwide, who's on your side, I guess. And
hey, we have Nationwide pet insurance.
There you go. Is that farm animals or just pets? Is that different? Probably different.
Okay. For our dog. He's huge.
April 25th to May 23rd of 2022 is when they asked 1,853 U.S. adults aged 26 plus. So that kind of got me. All right. So these are adults 26 plus. Is that an adult 26? I think so. I think that's about the age.
Borderline.
In the U.S. But of that, it was about a third, millennials, Gen Xers, and boomers. So there are boomers in here being asked these questions. So
sure,
let's get into it. So they're talking about Social Security. You saw the headline, but let me go through some of these because they're pretty crazy. And then I'm gonna tell you what I think is even worse that people don't understand.
Sure.
So most consumers, 70% across generations, worry that Social Security will run out of funding in their lifetime. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Right. Social Security running out.
Yes. Hi. She's having Social Security problems.
Yeah, I think so. That's not surprising to me, but I think the people that aren't worried about it are the ones that are already on it, right? The boomers on it.
Sure. How about this one?
Here's another truth: Social Security is dying.
Absolutely, right.
People think that anyway, but it's not necessarily.
We did a show on how to improve it and how you, as the listener, viewer, can actually go and help solve the problem. So watch that show if you want to not feel this way. But I agree. I think a lot of people have that right to feel this way. 1 in 3 adults, 33%, not currently receiving Social Security benefits, believe they won't get a dime of what they've earned when they retire. So 33% of people think they're never going to see a dime of it.
That's not true.
This is what people are believing, right? These are misconceptions. Now, is it unreasonable for a millennial to say, I'm not going to get a dime of it? Because people like you and I are going to spend it all before they get there?
As long as people are working, there's always money going in. So they'll get something. Will they get as much as we are getting or would get? I mean, we aren't getting Social Security yet, but will they get as much as my parents are getting? Maybe not, but they'll get something.
As a percentage of their income? It depends, right? There's a formula behind it, but
yeah.
So people aren't pretty excited about this, right? So let's go to the next one. More than 2/3, this is the headline, more than 2/3 of Americans don't realize Social Security is protected against inflation.
They don't know that there's cost of living adjustments, COLA?
Correct. Right. 2/3.
Even I knew that before we started doing the show together.
Well, let me say something about that, because quite frankly, Tony, you and I probably know more about Social Security than 99.9% of adults in this country.
Well,
but that's not because we're brilliant. It's because we learned and studied it. And you listened to me drone on about it. Before I started learning about Social Security for my job, I didn't know a damn thing about it, to be honest. I just knew old people got it, right? That was it. Right. So you got to take some of this with a grain of salt.
Sure.
Because millennials probably don't. They know as much as I did as a millennial, or not a millennial, but as a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old.
Sure.
But I learned it. So I know a lot. So I'm not picking on people, but man, this is crazy. I thought that was surprising.
Yeah.
2/3 don't know there's a COLA, a cost
That's
of living
crazy.
adjustment.
That's crazy.
Especially when
That's
this in 2023 it might be 10% or more.
Yeah. Plus, it's been, I don't know how you could, I mean, I guess they don't read the same, if they look at the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, or just look at Google News. I mean, usually these things come up, but I suppose if somebody who isn't 50 or older sees the Social Security word in a headline of a little article, or they're not even going to read a blurb. Their eyes just go past it because
Right. And
They're-
you know that
they're
the
not worried
Google,
about retirement.
the Google machine's not pushing those types of articles to them. Like,
Like they are to us.
22-year-old's
Yeah, I
not
get it.
getting the colorectal screening ads, but we are
Really?
because we're at that age.
They're not
So,
concerned about the colonoscopy today.
but I still think this is pretty poor. I mean, I bet you the 1/3 that did realize Social Security is protected against inflation are the ones currently getting it. Probably the
The
boomers.
boomers, yeah,
right?
because it's divided in thirds between millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers. So it's going to be the boomers who get it.
Well,
right?
let's look at the boomers. They got a couple of stats from this survey from the boomers. 1 in 4, 26% boomers and older who are not currently receiving Social Security plan on filing for Social Security benefits while continuing to work.
And early Social
So,
Security benefits early, which they're going to get a deduction. And if they continue to work, they're going to take those benefits back away from them. They're not going to be receiving them currently.
There's earnings limits. There's earnings limits on, right? We've done a show on what
Wow.
is that? So if you're planning to work and claim Social Security, you got the earnings test, right? So watch that. But yeah, 26%. So they're gonna work and claim. That's not how it was designed. You're supposed to claim when you stop working.
Right.
Once
But-
my Social Security checks start coming,
Right.
Once
When
my
they start
Social
coming.
Security, yeah,
I stop working, but not
yeah.
I'm
No.
working and I need more money, so let's turn on Social Security. But hey, 26% are doing that.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, right? How about this one? 39% of boomers who are not currently receiving Social Security plan on drawing their benefits before their full retirement age.
Wow.
I think, okay, so 39% who are not receiving.
Oh,
The other 60% are already receiving it early, right? I think most people take Social Security early.
yeah.
And the people
Yeah,
that
I
are
read a
still-
stat once, and I don't
Yeah.
remember it exactly, so don't quote me on this, but it's high, like in the 80s or 90s, honestly, the people that take it early at 60, and that's at 62. That's really early. That's as early as you can take it, because they
Right.
think they're going to get more money by taking it early, but they lock in a lower rate. So if they live to 101, like my grandfather,
they're going to regret that
they,
when they're
they
in their 80s.
literally, if you'd add up what my grandfather would have lost if he had taken Social Security at 62, would have been hundreds of thousands
It could
of
be
dollars.
hundreds,
over
literally
his life.
hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Literally
Over the lifetime, right?
hundreds of thousands of dollars over his lifetime that he gave up by
But
taking
people-
it early.
They're not doing the Social Security maximization analysis. So
No.
they just, or life situation, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to retire. Let me get it. There's so many reasons why people want to take it early. And
Yeah.
usually that's not the thing to do. Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, sometimes people need to take it at 62, and it's probably their best choice. And there are a lot of people out there like that, but not
especially if you're
80
married.
Yeah, not 80% of people though
Right. Right.
in the U.S.
Right. I know. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's the problem.
Only 7% correctly identified all the listed factors that determine the maximum Social Security benefits an individual can receive. I'm not surprised by this. People don't know how
Well,
the system
this
works.
doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I mean, this is getting into the nitty gritty of the formula, right?
Right.
So
We did a show on the maximum you can make in Social Security, and we talked about how you can make that. So we did a whole show on calculating how it's
That.
determined.
yeah,
But in a nutshell, it depends on how long you've worked and how much you've earned and when you take it. So,
those are the major.
in fact, I
factors
just
right there.
recently this month helped a client sign up for Social Security at age 70, and he's getting the max. I think it's 4,188. He's getting
Wow, it's over
Yeah.
for it used to be in the upper
in
threes.
the threes, right? And this is 2022. He's getting over 4,000. So
Wow.
yeah, it can happen, right? It doesn't happen often, but So I don't. That's not too surprising. But here's one. Almost half, 49% of adults don't know or aren't sure what percentage of their income will be replaced by retirement and Social Security.
Jeepers.
But then again, most people don't know what their income's going to be, and when they retire, they don't know how much they need. They don't have a clue.
Yeah, I guess that's not surprising. Yeah.
So how much of your Social Security is going to
Surprised
replace
it's
your
not
income?
higher, almost in a way.
I agree. Or it could be that the other half said, "I'm only going to have Social Security, so it's 100%." Right.
Right.
So, and that's unfortunately.
Or they think they're sure. They say they're sure, but they're really not.
I would say it's probably less than 5% really know
yeah.
what percentage of their income, because I don't think people know what their income is going to be in retirement. So let alone what's going to be replaced by Social Security.
Right.
Okay. How about this one? More than 2 in 5, 44% of those not currently receiving Social Security aren't sure how much their Social Security payments will be. They don't even know what they're going to get.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if you're 35 and they ask you how much you're going to get, you'd be like, I don't know. Right. So that's probably what's bringing this down. I think those that are closer to 60 probably know what they're going to get at.
Yeah, I would say so.
But they stopped sending the statements out, because the statements used to get them at any age.
You have to log in. You have to log in to find out now.
Right. You have to go online and get it.
SSA.gov.
Right. So I would suggest people do that. So I can
and
see
it's
why.
just simple. It's SSA.gov.
Yeah, it's not .com. Don't fall for that one. It's .gov. I can see why people don't know, because they're young. They don't care. They're like, whatever. They don't even think it's going to be around, so why bother looking? But I think people need to go on and look. Only 13% of adults correctly guess their full retirement age based on their year of birth. Okay. This I'm surprised at. What's your full retirement age?
67.
Only 13% of people know.
That's weird.
You should know what your full retirement age is. The only people that are
based on your birthday, it's pretty easy.
Well, right. But those before 1960 might have an excuse. Is it 66 and 10 months? Or is it 66 and 8 months?
But it's still 66. Within a year of.
Right. But I guess they might be tricked. But 13% don't even know. 67 for most people now. 67.
Yeah.
I thought that's common knowledge. But again, this is because we deal with it every day.
Almost everyone alive at 67.
Right. That isn't all.
That hasn't taken it yet. Right. Obviously, there are some people alive who it was probably 65. So.
Right. And I think for you, 67 may not be your full retirement age, because it'll probably get changed before that. And me. Right. We'll see.
But we're grandfathered in, because.
One more before I give you what I think are the top 3 misnomers. Almost half mistakenly believe that if they file early, their benefit will automatically go up once they reach their full retirement age. Boom. I'm going to file at 62, and then when I hit my full retirement age, they'll bump it up to what I would.
That's bad.
This is a real bad one.
Where does this come from? Why would they think that? That's crazy. Because if they believe that, why not? Everyone would file at 62. Oh, I guess everyone does. Everyone does.
So half of the people think that they could take it early, and then when they hit their full retirement age, they get the increase. Well, that's crazy. Well, for those listening that believe this, no. You only get the increase if you delay your Social Security to your full retirement age. So you get 100% of your benefit at your full retirement age. You get a haircut if you take it before then. And if you take it before then, you're not getting an increase just because you're getting older. You get an increase with cost of living, but you don't get an increase as you age. That's a misnomer.
And the cost of living increase isn't guaranteed either.
Right. You can get 0. They've had years where that's happened. So
within the last 15 years, I think
that's right.
Had 12 years. We've had 2 years that were 0.
Yeah. So I think this is a terribly This is a dangerous one right here. This
Yeah.
one's dangerous. The other ones you could say, all right, you don't know, you'll figure it out. But this, if you're making any mental plans about retirement and Social Security planning, thinking that this is accurate, that's a problem.
Yeah, that'll derail your whole retirement right there if you're planning on it.
Right. Now, to be fair, I've talked to a lot of people that have already claimed Social Security before they met me, and they're in their, say they're 66. I've never heard someone say, well, I'm going to be turning 67 soon, so I'm going to get my bump up. No one's ever said that to me. So I think this is probably
Yeah.
the younger people thinking this.
Yeah, I hadn't ever heard anyone believed that either. This is the first on that one, but almost half. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Now, time for my top 3. So I'm going to give, instead of a drum roll, Tony, I'm going to play a little clip of music that I think is appropriate for this scenario.
Something seems to have happened. Everybody seems to be staring in one direction. People seem to be frightened, even terrified. I want everybody to understand this. I don't understand.
I don't understand.
There are a lot of things we don't understand. I don't understand either.
We need answers from you.
They need answers from me.
I love that clip. That's awesome.
That's from Wax Taylor, for those that are wondering, called Que Sera. Okay.
Yeah.
Remix of the famous song. Okay, here we go. My top 3, without further ado. These are the 3 things that I think people misunderstand about Social Security, and that are probably the most painful to not get correct. Number 1, they think the Social Security office is going to help them with the strategy behind this. So let me explain what I mean by that. Social Security is a once in a lifetime decision, right? So it's not like something you think about. And then you're like, all right, when I turn 62, I'm going to go and take it, right? There's a mistake, number 1. But they go there and they think, I'm going to have a conversation with the Social Security office. Okay. And say, what are my options? Can I take it then? What would that do? Should I take it against my spouse? Can I get it from next? And they're going to have this discussion and strategic planning session with the Social Security office. That's not happening.
Nope.
That's definitely not happening.
Yeah.
First of all, you'd be lucky to get them on the phone right now.
Yeah.
Literally getting someone on the phone with Social Security is proving difficult, and it's just, they're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But Social Security employees are not allowed to give you financial advice. They cannot sit and talk to you and say, you know what, maybe you should do X, Y, and Z because that would be better in the long run. Maybe.
Plus, they don't know your personal situation.
And they can't ask. And they don't want to know because it's illegal. They can't sit there and say, hey, how much money do you make? And let's talk about the tax rate that this, implications of this.
Yeah.
No, right? That's not their job. So I'm not saying they should be, but I'm saying you as a Social Security recipient or potential recipient should not expect to get the level of guidance and help from Social Security that you think you might. A lot of people don't believe they're going to get help from Social Security because they don't like the government, and period. They think they're incompetent. But there are a bunch of people that think, oh, they're going to walk me through this and help me through it. You might be lucky and get someone that's helpful, but you're not going to get someone that's planning for you. You need to go in with a plan.
Right. Yeah. And you need to, but you have a report you can run for people you meet with, a Social Security maximization report, right? And if our listeners want to, or viewers want to get a copy of that and talk to you about their finances, you offer an initial consultation, correct?
Right. I'll give them the report. They can print it out and take it with them to the Social Security office and say, here's what I'd like to do. Here's it mapped out. Make this happen. And they'll do that. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. But that would be one issue that I see, a very common misnomer. And the second one, taxes. People have no idea how taxes on Social Security work. They just,
that's a big one.
some people don't realize Social Security is taxable. Some people think all of it's taxable. Some people think it's a double tax. We did a show on Social Security taxes and how they work. And so go and watch that.
It's a good one.
But I think people just, let's take it early. Let me take it early. And then they don't realize the tax implications as well.
Or if they're going to go back to work or keep working in retirement, which a lot of people do now.
Yeah, we mentioned that, right? So some of it gets withheld because you make too much money, but a lot of times it's bottom line for people that aren't, what does taxes have to do with it? I can't control it. That's, yes, you can. I would rather have $50,000 of Social Security income than $50,000 of pension income, because Social Security is not all taxed. People don't realize that. So it's better to get more Social Security income for tax reasons than any other reason. So that's a very common thing that people just don't understand at all about Social Security taxes. And I'm not talking about taxes on your income now to pay for Social Security. People don't understand that either. And last but not least, my number one mistake or misunderstanding that people just don't get is survivor benefit options, which is why our number one show, most watched show that we've done, Tony, is survivor benefits. And I think it's because there's no video. It's just us talking audio.
Right. That's true.
But people don't understand survivor benefits.
because you're a looker. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's why people like to view the show instead of just listen.
Yeah, right. That's it. So survivor benefits, and I'll be more specific.
Yeah.
People
What do you mean
know-
by survivor benefits?
People know that if you lose a spouse, you get the benefit, right? Sometimes I think you get both, but most people know by now you only get one, right?
The higher of the two.
The higher of the two. But what they don't realize is that you can get that off of an ex-spouse. They don't realize that you could take Social Security benefits at age 60 if you're not disabled. You can take it at 50 if you're disabled. But people don't realize you could take Social Security benefits at 60 if you lose a spouse or an ex-spouse. They don't realize you can then switch to your own later. They don't realize you could take your own and then switch to your survivor benefits later. So there's strategy here. People just don't get it.
You got to do the math. Yeah, and that's where you come in. And I know that report you runs like 20,000 calculations or something to
Right.
figure out
And
the sweet spots and
Right.
survivor benefits. That's huge.
Survivor benefits are so misunderstood, particularly for
And it depends
ex-spouses.
on each person's particular situation, which is why they need to
Right.
be working with a financial professional who's done this and can look at the big picture.
That's right. So I would urge people to watch the previous shows we've done on Social Security, and if you have an ex-spouse that died, did you know you
Right.
can claim a survivor benefit on that? Maybe. Depends on your situation. Were you remarried, 10 years, or all those things? We go in depth, but that one is a biggie that people just don't understand. So to wrap up, Tony, Social Security is, in my opinion, the foundation of a solid retirement income plan. For most people, it's their biggest source of income in retirement. So you can't take it lightly. It's not something that we're taught in schools. It's not something you deal with on a daily basis. You deal with it
Right.
once when you get older and you retire. So you're not expected to know it, but ignorance is expected, right? But it's not a good solution to remain ignorant. You can get the resources. There are tons of videos and information out there. Make sure you're asking the right people. If you have a financial advisor, ask them for a Social Security strategy. If they're not giving you one, then go somewhere else. You need to learn about this and have a strategy and go in with eyes wide open. That's the lesson here. So we make fun of, or they're not making fun of, we're amazed at the ignorance on some of these things. We can forgive it for a lot of those people that are probably too young to really be worried about it just now.
Sure.
But there's no excuse for the ignorant person at age 61.
Who
Or
doesn't
at-
understand
right.
Social
Or-
Security? You have to by that
Mhm.
point.
because once you make that decision, it's really tough to undo it, especially after a year's passed. There's no undoing. So you have to make the right decision. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just saying, don't take it lightly.
Right.
God bless Social Security.
On that note, I'll catch you next week. Thanks for a good show, Tony.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only.
This show is not investment advice.
Dan Riddle nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency.
Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida.
Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc.
Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group.
You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies